Happy New Year everybody, and here we are back in our workshop. So what have we got on the cards today? Right, first thing we're going to do, I have here a large bucket. We're going to put our petrol tank in that. We're going to get the evaporust into the tank and get that started, because I don't know how long it's going to take to do the job. A few bits that I've done that you haven't seen yet is I have rebuilt the air filters with new air filter foam. I went through the parts cleaner, so they're ready to go back on. I'm quite excited to get that on. Carburettors, you'll see that in a bit. Fuel pipe. And this, I'm quite pleased with these. Let's see if we can get them. These are fuel pipe clips. So I've got the screw type ones that I'd use for cars, diesel, all that sort of thing. Didn't even think you could get replacement fuel pipe clips. So I've got a, what is it? 5 to 14 mil, 100 piece, made in China kit. Don't care where it's made, they're stainless steel. I'm over the moon with those. So basically what I'm saying is a little bit more work to get the tank done. The petcock or fuel tap kit is on its way, and then we can get all this rebuilt. And once we've done that, a little bit of a clean up on the electrics, make sure all the terminals are clean and shiny and good, and we can get this bike fired up and run. I am excited. So that's what we're going to do in the early part of 2025. So enough of me gassing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to spin you around, and we're going to start to look at how we can block up the holes in the tank so we can get this evaporust in it and sort it all out. All right, you game for it? Let's do it then. Come on. Right. Let's see what we've got. I'm going to put a cloth down just because I'm handling the petrol tank. I don't particularly want to risk scratching it up on the bench. Now, as some of you might be able to hear, I have a whole load of, oh God, that stinks. A whole load of stainless steel bolts in there. So let's see what we've got. Where's the black coming from? Oh, now that's interesting. It's a T-piece. Don't ask me, I haven't a clue. I think this lot's going to have to go through the parts washer though. Look at it, man. Can only be one left. Yes, I was right. Right. So, it's a good job. I had a large collection of, I'm guessing M10, M12 bolts that I could put in the tank. But just look at the mess there, guys. Let me just make sure you can see that. Yeah, you can. That's really, really crappy. And as I say, it's black, and I don't get that. You know, I can imagine rusty water, but God knows what's been in that fuel. So, luckily enough, we have a parts washer. So no expensive stainless steel nuts were harmed in making this video. 3 degrees in here today. These are cold, 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 cold. So looking back in the tank, you guys can't see it, I can. I'm not saying that putting a handful of hardware like that is actually doing a great deal in this tank. As I say, I think it's got bigger problems than nuts than rust. We'll see. Right, so one of the problems I've got is we have there our petcock screw, and I need to block it. So just like most good Boy Scouts, we collect a load of stuff, and hopefully we will have something like a bung I can put in there, and that will stop the stuff coming out. So that's that. Now the other thing, how hard is it to get that off? Yeah, almost impossible, so we won't bother. Now, big tank, not so big container of but I think what I'll do is I will fill it up, tip it back, so it can do sort of like that half, because don't forget, there is a bloody great ridge in the tank, and then we can tip it forward, and yeah, we'll just keep on manoeuvring it until we get the kind of coverage we want. Right, tank back where it was. Glad I found a bung. Really interested to know what that T-piece is from, because it's weird. When you look at the rebuild kit, when you look at getting a replacement petcock, you've got 2 choices. The replacement can have 2 pipes in that orientation, where this is, that's the way it goes on. It can have 2 pipes in that orientation, or it has 1 pipe and 1 pipe only. So I would expect that to be off the 1 pipe variant. Don't forget, there's only 2 carbs. There's no real reason for that. I could even be off another bike, but interesting. Right, let's get this tidied up. Right, get that out of the way. In the rack, get our trusty towel, plastic container, because last thing I want to do is lose any of this. It's not cheap stuff, massively expensive but not cheap. Right, do I need to, you can see what I'm doing. So it's going to be annoying. It's going to be really annoying. God, my hands are cold. I've used this stuff before and I'm quite excited. possibly going to be easier to partially fill this first. You know, I might know what that black is. I'm wondering if that's old engine oil. So, one thing I haven't mentioned is when I bought the Honda, remember I was showing you the side panels? And I said this is what somebody had done, they painted it this horrible brown colour. Well, the tank that was on the Honda originally was also this brown colour. So, over the years I've bought a replacement side panel and a tank with original paint, and I'm wondering if the original owner come on, really? Maybe filled this with oil. So what we do, we'll leave that to boil for a bit, or whatever it does. 24 hours, so I need to come back up here tomorrow. Yeah, fair enough. And if that doesn't work, we can come up with some other solution. I think it'll be good. I do. Right. That's that. Time for a brew. Okay guys, well we're getting a bit short on battery life, but I've already rebuilt one carburettor. I thought I'd just quickly go through carburettor number 2 and get that rebuilt, and then we can look at getting them back on the bike. So I've blown this out, I've brake cleaned it. It should be about as good as it's going to get. So let's get started. First thing, emulsion tube for the main jet. And the main jet itself. What am I about? Yeah, and the main jet itself. Let's get the right part for you. Pilot. It's the pilot emulsion tube and the pilot jet. Actually, I think I've got that wrong. I think it's the pilot jet is the first one, and the top one is just a blank because it doesn't have a hole in it. Okay, so next thing, let's get the needle in, float back on. This one is a bit tighter than the other one. I need to sometimes you just got to go with the roll. Usually do is just use the flat end of a screwdriver to push that through. That's good. So we have, now this did originally have fibre washers on. The new kit comes with aluminium washers. Not that I see it makes the slightest bit of difference, as long as there's a washer on it. I'm not going to adjust the float height at the moment, so we can now get that to that side, put on our gasket, put on our float bowl, clip that into position. So next one, tiny sealing washer. That goes here just by the slow runner mixture control screw. What I'm looking for, that's what I'm looking for. As you probably gathered, these are actually a really simple carburettor. There's very little to them. So this is the tricky bit. So we've got a series of rubber O-rings. And if I'm not mistaken, the smallest one in there. Yeah, so that's the smallest one. Then it goes big in the middle. These don't really fit as such, and I think it's second biggest there. Yeah, they're a pretty crappy fit. Maybe I've got that wrong. Let's get that one out of the way so I don't lose it. Let's bring, see, that is actually a way better fit right there. That's a small one there. I do have some spares here from another kit, but I would say that's still too big. Let's tip those out. A tiny little one here, which I don't seem to have in this kit. That looks almost perfect for that. Let's go that way. Yeah. Just position that over, hold that down. Okay, let's lift that off, and hopefully I haven't disturbed the, put the wrong screw in. It's the long ones, not the short ones. I'm not happy with that minuscule little washer. I think it's meant to be one of those. It's between that size and that size. Is that one? Right, this is getting annoying now. I'm trying not to disturb the what I need to do is just wedge that butterfly open. There, now I've got access to the screw. Yeah, for some reason this doesn't seem to want to screw down. Oh, now I've got it. Now this one. Use the proper screwdriver. Perfect. This diaphragm is a bit more rigid than the other one. The other one was really good, probably being replaced at some point. But let's not worry too much about that. As we're unable to get them, hopefully that will just start to free up a bit more with use. Screw. Screw. So why am I using a small straight screwdriver in a JIS standard? Sometimes, especially when you're fiddling about, these just bite a little bit better. You won't want to put a lot of torque on it, it'll damage the screwdriver and damage the screw, but it's easier than trying to use these at times. Because these require you to push down. Well, if the screw's not seated and it's all wobbly, last thing you want to be doing is pushing down, because that'll cross-thread it. Those are a bit dodgy. Right, so I do have some small seals. There's a couple of things I haven't taken out. The bigger seals that you saw there are actually for the needle valve seat, which I haven't removed. There's no point. Right, that's our piston gasket. Got a notch on the side, notch there. Try and get the needle in the seat, in the jet I mean. There you go, that's done. Right in to, where have I done that? Right into that end. Yeah. So what I like to do when I've rebuilt, got an open, it's my fault, let's clip that back on properly. Ah, that's why the clip has come out of its holder. That's better, that's gone on positive. So I just lift the piston, can you hear that? That's returning. Right, so here we are, 2 rebuilt carburettors. Now, one more job to do. Fuel hose. No fuel hose. That is because, now I'm panicking, That is because when I pulled the hoses off, the metal fitting came with it. So we are going to bond that in with some high strength retainer. We use a chemical to do it, and for good reason, because if we don't, there's a good chance, they're all spares, yeah, there's a good chance that it'll come back out again as the aluminium expands quicker than the brass. So I need to find what I've done with it somewhere on my bench, and we can crack on to that. Okay, so that's the little brass pipe, and what I'm going to do is clean down the end of it. Now I'm scoring it, and I'm scoring it in a rotary fashion around the pipe. Okay, I'm using some fine to clean it, and then I'm going to get some coarse. A bit of emery tape there, and score that round. The reason I'm doing that is that I have to cut this, sorry. A, I want to clean it, but B, I want there to be something for the chemical to bite into. Now, I did say I was going to use retainer, but I'm not sure if it's fuel proof. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of research before I plug this in and just make sure I use the right chemical. So just roll in a bit of this emery up. It's useless. I think it's got damp and all the grit's coming off it. And no, I haven't got any abrasives that are thin enough to do this. Roll a bit of that stuff up, get that in. Okay, so I'll just put that in there for now and make sure I get the right glue for it. So that's it, that's our carburettors rebuilt. We've got our new manifold clamps, so it's just a case now of once that's glued in, get this back on the bike, get some fuel hose, and that'll be that part of the job done.